Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to Resident Evil 4 HD Edition. This is my professional difficulty walkthrough, and we are moving on to Chapter 4, Part 3. Luckily, this is a pretty short chapter compared to the first two parts, or this is a relatively short part compared to the first two parts of Chapter 4. However, this particular part has one of the most stressful sections in the game, which is the minecart ride. If you've played the game before, which if you're playing on professional, you had to have played the game before to unlock it. You know what I'm talking about. If you're just watching the game for fun, and you don't know what is yet to come, well then you will see, and you will see that it is a pretty intimidating. It's a pretty intimidating section. So remember, one of my pieces of advice is to always be carrying a rocket launcher. So if you happen to have used your rocket launcher at any point, I would recommend buying a new one. The castle is a great place to implement this strategy because there are so many treasures lying around that you can sell for a high price. So I'm not sure if I needed the rocket launcher in this video or not. I might have. If I do, then I'll get to that point when I get to it. But the main gist is, at this point in the game, you're pretty much always going to want to have to try. You're pretty much always going to want to have a rocket launcher in your inventory if you can. And luckily, the rocket launchers aren't that expensive, especially considering how much treasure you're able to find in this part of the game. So, yeah, that's kind of my biggest piece of advice. But so what you're going to want to do here is, if you have the rifle, this is what makes this part go by the easiest. But basically, we have to get down into the mines, but before we do that, we have to clear out some of these guys. Now, if you want to, you can just try to run past all these guys. However, at the end of this little area, there is like a crank you have to turn and able to get down into the mines, so you might not have enough time to do that. But you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm just standing all the way back here, and I'm just going to pick off these guys one by one as they try to get near me. And luckily, by standing this far back with your rifle, you can take these guys out well in advance of them ever getting close to you, just headshot after headshot. If you've upgraded your rifle, you might not even need headshots. You can shoot them in the chest, and that might even do. So just be aware of that. If you have any leftover money, it's not a bad idea to invest in weapon upgrades. But anyway, if you're in my case, you might have run out of rifle ammo because that's a gun that I use a lot. So then just take out these remaining guys with whatever weapons you have, whatever your weapon of choice is. But the biggest thing is, you're going to want to try to save as much shotgun ammo as you can, because the shotgun is the weapon that we're going to be using later on in this level. Alright, so once you finish off this area, no more guys will be running at you, and you can run around, and there's some ammo to pick up, there's some treasure to pick up, and then basically for the rest of this chapter, I don't think you're going to be able to find another merchant other than the one at the beginning of this level. So if you need anything at the last minute, like first aid spray or a new weapon or any weapon upgrades, feel free to stop here and do that. If you do have extra money, like I already mentioned, it's always good to have a rocket launcher in your inventory. But if you do have any extra money, then a good purchase to make would be to upgrade your shotgun. And you've probably noticed that I'm still using the original shotgun from the beginning of the game, which is the one that you find for free in the initial village. But you can actually buy a different shotgun from the merchant if you want to. I think it's stronger, like I think it has better stats, but honestly, every time I've played this game, I always stick with the main shotgun. I think it's a good weapon, so I just stick with that one instead of buying the stronger one. But that's kind of your call. So yeah, once you're done stocking up on everything, you're going to come over to this lever here, and you can reveal this hidden path underground, and that's when we're going to go underground into the mines. So the mines have basically two parts that you need to be worried about. The first is, there's like this, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's this big underground room, and in it there's going to be two chainsaw enemies. And if you follow my approach, you'll be able to get through it without killing a single one. Remember, the only benefit to killing the chainsaw enemy is they will give you a lot of treasure once you kill them, but they also absorb a lot of ammo, so it's probably better to just save the ammo and run past them, since at this point, after making your way through the whole castle and everything, you've probably accumulated enough treasure as it is. I think it's a better decision to just stop and not waste ammo on the chainsaw guys. The other reason for that is because it's not only 2 chainsaw guys you have to worry about, there's also going to be a lot of regular foot soldiers hanging about. So you see the first chainsaw guy, he's actually up in that room, and he cannot get to you based on where he is right now. So you don't have to worry about him. So what you're going to want to do right off the bat is just clear this initial room of all enemies. And if you still have rifle ammo, you can actually pull out, or you can actually take out a lot of them right off the bat. But if not, just run around with your weapon of choice and clear out this room completely. But you could hear that the chainsaw guy has started revving up his chainsaw. But the thing is, the room that he's in, there's only 2 ways out of that room. The ladder and a door. But the door has a lock on it that for some reason he can't undo. So his only way out is the ladder, but for some reason he won't climb down that ladder. So you actually won't have to worry about him until you decide that you're ready to go on with this section. And that helps us a lot. But the problem is, there is I think a button or a key in that room that the chainsaw guy's in that we need. So you are going to have to go up there, but if you do it the right way, you won't have to shoot more than 1 bullet at him. But first, like I said, the easiest way to get through this section is to just first clear out this entire room here. And one thing you have to be careful about is you don't want to go running around the center of the room, because there are a lot of bear traps laid about. And so if you're not looking for them, you can easily run into a bunch of them and exhaust all of your health. The other thing is, if you decide, you could play it extra safe and you could shoot every single one, but that's going to kind of waste a lot of ammo that you're going to need later on in the game. So my best piece of advice is to just kind of pick one solid path, take out the bear traps on that one path, and then you can keep going. So once you clear out all of the people in this area, like I said, run through the center here and kind of pick your path, and then you're probably going to want to take this chance to just shoot the bear traps that are in your way. And so all I have to do now is I have to go up that ladder, get the key, and then I can leave this room. But what happens is, once you pick up that key, another chainsaw enemy and a bunch of soldiers will spawn from this doorway over here. And so that's something you got to be careful about. So what I'm going to do is, you got to do this really quickly, and if you time it perfectly, it should go off without a hitch. But basically, pull out your rifle or your magnum and aim it at his head. He's standing right there in the window. Shoot him, and he'll get knocked down, and he'll stay down for about 10 or 15 seconds. And so what you're going to want to do during that time is run up the ladder here, run straight over. You might have to shoot him again, so I guess I kind of lied. It takes 2 bullets, but shoot him again so that he's once again stunned, and you can actually grab this yellow herb while you're up here. But then, so you grab the key, and then you can see all those enemies just spawned right away. And so what's going to happen now is, when you go over, for some reason, now the chainsaw guy can run down here. For some reason he couldn't do that before, but now he's able to. So you see now that the chainsaw guy is down here. I thought the game spawned a second one, but I guess it's just the original one. But so what you're going to want to do here is, I'm luring them all to this end of the room, and I'm going to get them all in the doorway right here. And then as soon as they all kind of conglomerate inside of this little doorway, that's when I'm going to shoot them. And then as soon as you get that chainsaw guy stunned, now we're going to make a run for the door. And we're going to be saving a lot of ammo while we do that. So watch this. I throw an incendiary grenade just to give me some extra stalling time. But now I'm basically going to run, and you see here how I picked the wrong path, so it might be better to just play it safe and shoot out all the bear traps in the area ahead of time. But simply lure them all to one end of the room, and then you can run to this end of the room pretty easily, go through the door that you now have the key for, and boom, you're able to bypass this section. And you left a lot of enemies alive, but you also saved a lot of ammo, especially on the chainsaw guy, because that guy will take a lot of ammo to kill. And then just run through this hallway here, get through the door, and now you won't have to worry about them anymore. And when you do get to this room, you're going to want to equip your TMP, because we're going to have more spikes from the ceiling here. But the only difference is now you're also going to have these parasites to worry about. So not really any surefire way to do this. Just take care of one parasite, and then as quickly as you can, try to shoot out these 4 red beacons. But chances are one of these annoying parasites is going to latch onto you before you're able to do that. So try to take him out first. Otherwise, they'll just keep kind of stalling you until you get crushed. And then, same thing as before, just shoot out the 4 red lights. The spikes will stop, and you can leave this room. But for some reason, they decide to spawn a 3rd parasite on you even after you completed the room. So you're going to have to deal with that as well. But once you get through that spiked room, you only have one more section of this level to go, and that is the really stressful cart ride. So this is probably the hardest part of the level. It's one of the hardest parts of the game too, I'd say, but if you know what you're doing, you should be able to get through it pretty easily. And that's why I've kind of been saying to save as much shotgun ammo as you can, because that's going to be the main weapon that we use here, is the shotgun and the TMP. And you'll see that you can kind of do this trick where, I'll show you when we get to it, but as you're riding down the cart, you can see enemies off in the distance that are like standing on these elevated platforms, and they're getting ready to jump into the cart as you ride by it. But with your TMP, if you aim far enough down the sight, you can actually shoot their feet and they'll fall off of the platform, and that saves you a lot of trouble and a lot of ammo. And you'll see what I mean in a second when we get to that part. But collect everything in this area, because as soon as you jump onto the cart, there's really no going back. So you're going to jump into the cart here. You're going to move forward, and then there's just a lever that you have to shoot. And once you shoot that lever, there's no going back. So give the lever a shot, and then instantly run back to the very back corner of this minecart. Turn around, and with your TMP, you can see here, like that one guy, I shot his feet, and he fell to his automatic death. And same thing with these guys right here. I was able to shoot all 3 of those people before they jumped onto the minecart. And so that was like just one bullet to hit their feet, and that's an instant kill. And then it also just saves you a lot of trouble while you're actually in the minecart, because that's less enemies to deal with at a close distance. And you see here, again, I'm doing the same thing. All these enemies off in the distance that are getting ready to jump on the cart, I pretty much just shoot every single one in the foot. I missed one, and so now instead of having to deal with 6 enemies in the cart, I only have to deal with 1, and that just makes your life a lot easier. However, eventually what's going to happen is the cart's going to stop, and the game's going to kind of force a bunch of enemies in. Watch out for those wooden beams. You can either shoot them or just press a quick time button to dodge them. But for example, in this area right here, there's going to be a lot of enemies, and one of them is a chainsaw guy. So try to shoot as many of the regular enemies as you can, and then aim all the way down and shoot the lever so that the cart gets moving again. At this point, it's pretty impossible to avoid. There's going to be a lot of enemies that hop into the cart, and so that's when you're going to want to take out your shotgun and just start unloading on them. And the good thing is, at this point here, because you're at such close quarters, all of the enemies will kind of line up really nicely so that one shot will take down a lot of people. And basically what you want to avoid is having at all costs you want to avoid having the chainsaw guy jump into the same cart as you. So always try to have a shotgun bullet in the chamber so that if he's about to hop into your cart, you can shoot him back. But at this point here, now you see we have 2 chainsaw people to deal with. So what you're going to kind of want to do is once they all get knocked down, you can throw a grenade into their cart. You might take a little bit of damage, but that's okay, because that grenade will do a lot of damage to the 2 chainsaw guys that are inside of the cart. And then from there, you should have probably, with all these shotgun blasts, weeded out a lot of the smaller enemies. The smaller enemies. So then just kind of focus your efforts on eliminating the last of the chainsaw guys, and then you're going to come to 1 or 2 more platforms just like this one. If you're more prepared than I am, you can once again do the TMP trick to shoot their feet. Otherwise, you can just kind of ignore them. But basically, you'll get to this point here where you go in these spiral tracks, and once you get to this point, the carts are moving so fast that you don't have to worry a whole lot about killing them anymore. I kind of got unlucky. There was a parasite that just happened to fall into my cart, but at this point the cart's going so fast you don't have to really focus on killing the enemies. Just get ready to press the quick time button so that you can jump that gap, and then once again to climb up. And yeah, so with that you're able to get through the section. Hopefully that helped you, and once you get through that, you're able to move on with the game to the last part of Chapter 4, which is going to be in the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. If you enjoyed this video or if it helped you get through the section, then, you know, show your support, leave a comment below. Anything like that always helps. But really, other than that, you just got to run into this room here, pick up this thing, and then just proceed on with the game. And you'll eventually, you know, reach the end of this tunnel, and you'll be directed to Chapter 4, Part 4. So, yeah, climb the ladder, and then with the thing that you just picked up, that's how you're actually going to unlock this door. So you remember we were in this location earlier. There's the door you have to get through, so use the piece of treasure you just acquired to get through it. And that's really it, guys. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.